All right, so let's start this broadcast with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. And this, of course, has got to do with what's happening in Germany, where the German police have conducted nationwide raids. And according to reports that have come in, at least about 25 people have been arrested for being part of what is described as a far-right terror cell. And also, according to the German police, it is being said that these people have now been rounded up for plotting to overthrow the government in Berlin. And we're also planning to stage an attack on the German parliament. Nearly about 3,000 police officers, including the elite anti-terror units, took part in the early morning raids across Germany. The forces searched more than 130 different properties. And according to German media reports, this is being dubbed as Germany's largest ever police actions that has been taken against extremists, especially those who lean towards the right and terror groups. The raids mainly focused on alleged members of a group that describes itself as the Citizens of the Reich. And this movement is suspected of making preparations to force their way into the German parliament with a small armed group. Those arrested have been accused of having formed a terror group by the end of November 2021. And according to the federal prosecutors, they wanted to replace the German government with their own kind of state. Now, of the 25 who have been arrested, 2 of them are said to be from Austria and Italy. And also one active soldier and several reservists are also amongst those who are presently facing an investigation. Now, according to the military intelligence, the active soldier is said to be a member of the Special Forces Command. The Citizens of the Right movement includes members of neo-Nazis, conspiracy theorists and also gun enthusiasts. They reject the legitimacy of the modern German Republic, and they generally believe that the movement's followers in the continued existence of the pre-war German state as it stood under the Nazis. The movement has also become increasingly radicalized in recent years and is being seen as a growing security threat to the German state. Now, the German Justice Minister has praised the raids that have been carried out by the police in rounding up these elements who belong to this terror cell, who wanted to recreate Germany as it existed before the end of the Second World War. He said that this demonstrates Germany's ability to defend its democracy. Now, Germany considers far-right terrorism as one of the biggest threats to its security and to its society. Germany's domestic intelligence agency has predicted that at least about 21,000 people are part of the movement that is known as the Reichsbürger movement. And according to the 2021 annual report of the agency, some 2,100 of these individuals are prepared to use violence to complete their objectives. All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what's actually been unfolding in Germany since early this morning, we're being joined in by our correspondent, Trent Murray, who's live from Berlin, and he's been tracking the story very closely for us. Now, Trent, this of course is shocking, some would say, that these individuals who belong to these far-right neo-Nazi groups, they've now been rounded up. And according to reports that are coming in, there could be thousands of them, but about 25 of them have been arrested since this morning. Tell us more as to what's unfolding in Germany.
Well, it is just an extraordinary story, isn't it? It almost reads like a script from a Hollywood film, but it is extremely serious, according to German authorities, and that is why we saw those major raids across the country this morning. 3,000 police officers involved in 11 different states. Now, Germany only has 16 states, so it gives you an example of just how far wide the reach was of this operation. Now, authorities say that this group were in the final stages of planning some sort of armed attack on the German parliament. They had been monitored over recent months, and during that time, investigators saw that they were actively trying to recruit people, particularly those that were involved in either the police or the military. They were trying to acquire weapons as well and had actually stashed several weapons, we understand, and they were also taking shooting classes, and that was really in preparation for what authorities say was an attempt to overthrow the government here and to restore a new government led by Prince Heinrich VIII. Now, he's a minor royal here and from an aristocratic family. The idea was, according to investigators, he would be the new leader of Germany. A 69-year-old colleague of his, a former paratrooper, was going to be the Minister for Defence, and they'd already formed a shadow cabinet, if you will. It is just extraordinary stuff, and you can imagine that for media in Germany here today, and just average people, I think, as well, there is a real element of shock at exactly what's being laid out and what they were planning.
Absolutely, indeed. And also, Trent, very quickly, if you could tell us more, because you told us in terms of the preparation that this group had been carrying out of having those shooting classes, etc. Now, the reports say that these individuals were planning to stage an attack on the German parliament. The question that I want to ask you is, how widespread is this group and what kind of support does it enjoy within the German public? Or is this some kind of a, shall we say, a shadow conspiracy theorist kind of a group that exists in Germany?
Yeah, and look, this group has been around for a couple of years. They really made headlines during the coronavirus pandemic and the lockdowns, rallying hard against government policy there. In fact, we understand the group got on the radar of domestic intelligence when they foiled a plan to kidnap the health minister here during lockdowns, and that is how they then found this much bigger crime or potential crime taking place. I think it is very, very fair, and we have to be clear about this. This is a fringe group. There is extremely small support for these types of people, I think, within Germany. I wouldn't misconstrue this as something that exists on a more wider societal level, but it is worrying, I think, how far and advanced the group appeared to have got in part of its preparations. We will get an update in the next hour or so from the German Attorney General, who is going to address the press and no doubt fill in some of the gaps that are still missing from this extraordinary story.
Absolutely, indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Trent Murray, for joining us from Berlin and getting us all those updates there. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.